Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Star Labs Confidential. To start from the year, I have fitness expert Joe Carabase with me as we discuss the latest season of Cobra Kai. Thank you for joining in today, Joe.
What's up, Brian? Thanks for having me, man.
Not a problem. So, are you a big fan of the show so far?
I am. When I first saw it come out like 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, that looks stupid. I saw it was on YouTube at the time. I saw commercials. But then, when it came to Netflix, I started watching it, and I don't know. Honestly, I think it's one of the best written shows I've seen. To be able to take what was a great franchise, 20-something, 30 years ago, I don't even know, and then bring it back, a lot of the same characters, build off a lot of the same themes, and not make it cheesy. Although the ending of this season got a little cheesy, but overall, I think it's been great so far.
Agreed, because I remember seeing a little bit of the Karate Kid movies when I was a kid, and seeing most of these actors back after all this time, it's pretty something, especially with seeing their kids and their friends, how they get involved in this new karate war, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, the setup they have with it. It's kind of like, what's cool about it is they have an arc that they sort of keep using, but they reverse the pieces. So like, it's going in a direction where you kind of understand it's going and evolves. Like now you see the younger generation, like, Daniel-san's youngest, whatever his name is, getting involved in that whole,
Yeah.
the way they built that up, it's the same type of deal, except reverse of how it was for him when he was a kid. He was the new kid that got beat up, and now he's Daniel-san's this rich dad, and now his son is the bully, but really not the bully. So it's I love how they do that, and I think the humor they put in is awesome as well. Like Johnny's character is hilarious.
Yeah, he definitely is, especially with how he does understand like the modern ways of things. Like, I have to wonder, when he got knocked down the first movie, he was in a coma for all this time and didn't have no idea about everything until we get to the start of the show.
Yeah, it's just well written. They know how to add in humor, but it also, like, I love the philosophy stuff they bring up with Mr. Miyagi. And again, like, it's easy for that genre to be really cheesy, but it's not somehow. I thought it was stupid when they had whoever that country singer was sing at the karate thing. Is it Carrie Underwood? I don't know.
Yeah, Carrie Underwood. Yeah, that was it.
That was a little outrageous. But other than that, like, everything's real. The fight is probably never going to happen in real life, but you can understand how it could happen, I guess. And I think that's important for a TV show to be somewhat real, and for you to really buy in and kind of get engaged, or at least for me anyway.
Yeah, because I really like how for each season we have this build up to where Danny and Johnny, they could be friends because they're pretty much similar in many ways, but something always happens where it goes downhill and have to wait next season for them to try to figure something out. And that's what bugged me a bit. That I was hoping for this season they would actually, work together for a good while, but they have to try to make more attention and have them split up into separate dojos again.
Yeah, but that's what's kind of cool about it, is that it's not, as soon as you think it's going in a direction, it kind of goes in a different direction. And I to me, like, that's what keeps me engaged. If it was just like this one sort of like parallel, like it was just like, you knew exactly where it was going and it was going there, it wouldn't be as interesting or entertaining, So I think it's really hard to kind of do what they're doing, which is like, keep the characters around and like most people who watch the show probably really like Johnny and really like, Danny's character.
Yeah. I say so, though. At least for me, I like Johnny more than Danny, because I feel like Danny is a little bit too pretentious with always looking down at him for, even though he's not part of Cobra Kai, he still used such an aggressive way to fighting, and like, come on, you gotta take a little bit of both sides, a little bit defensive and offensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, spoiler alert, but it looks like it's where they're going. So, what did you make of the last scene where they saw, I don't know if that was Mr. Miyagi's brother or something or other coming in there?
Yeah, I think his name was Chosen. I think he's a nephew or somewhat in relation to him. So
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I think it was Karate Kid 2. I think him and Danielson fought.
yep.
Okay, so that's who he is. I mean, that's just fascinating to me that they're able to keep like they still have these characters that they can bring back and utilize, and it makes sense. Although I'm not quite clear as to where they're going with the dojo, right? Because Cobra Kai won,
Yep.
Miyagi-Do was supposed to shut down. So yeah, I don't know how they're going to play that out, but
Well, there could be a loophole for season 5 that Danny and Johnny can't be senseis anymore with their dojos, but no one said about another sensei taking control.
interesting. That's true. Yeah.
So Miyagi-Do might still be open, just with Chosen now being in charge, and we'll get to see more of his fighting style, because I think his is more offensive, like that one nerve punch move, I think, or not punch, nerve strike.
Yeah, that's a good point for sure.
Yeah, plus maybe Johnny might have more appreciation of Miyagi-Do if he learns from Chosen.
Yeah, and I can see it kind of like there's a lot that could happen, right? Because there's gonna be dynamic between Danielson and how do you say his name?
I think it was like Chosen. I guess like Chosen, but with a Z instead of an S.
So those two, and then the dynamic between Johnny and him, and then the dynamic of Danny and Johnny. So there's a lot there, and I think the way it ended with Kreese was interesting as well. You can see how they towards the end of the series you started to empathize more with Kreese's character because you saw his transition, and I think that's really big in a show is like to see a character's transition, even as if you don't like them, you hate them at first, but see them kind of come around, it almost like makes you root for them more, or at least for me anyway.
Yeah, because Kreese is definitely an impressive villain with a really messed up backstory. But the thing is that actually has happened with some war vets. They're so traumatized that violence, in a way, could be like their only way to deal with what they've seen.
Yeah. And it seems like he came full circle, right? With the advice that he gave at the very end, and the effect that Johnny, like knowing the effect he had on Johnny's life. And so, it's interesting to see how that will go and how, how it all trickles down, like with what happens with Robbie, right? Is Robbie going to stay in Cobra Kai? Is he going to quit karate? Is he going to go to, whatever the new dojo is? What do you think?
Hard to say about that. I think he's definitely quitting Cobra Kai because seeing with that little kid, I think Kenny was his name, seeing how aggressive he was being and how it was similar to him, I think that made Rai realize that he doesn't want to do that kind of thing. So he might go back to Miyagi-Do. We'll see. But I think for first off, there's going to be that little soap opera-ish part with finding Miguel as he tries to find his father.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird part of that. And then Johnny's going to follow him. So that's interesting.
Because they said that there's reports that for the 3 actors, they were filming in Puerto Rico for season 5. So I guess they're using that for Mexico for some reason. But
so they already started with the filming.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it seems like Robbie will be with Johnny trying to find Miguel as they maybe try to work things out between the 3 of them.
So you think Robbie's gonna join Johnny?
Possibly.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I it's there's a lot of ways they can go with it. I think the amount of it was weird because there's so many subplots going on, and it's interesting. It will be interesting to see what evolves into the next season. Like I think between Danielson's wife, what's her name?
Amanda. Yeah, Amanda.
Between her and then the Cobra Kai girl, like I could see them that sort of evolving into something.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I thought it was weird when Amanda sort of sought her out, but I also think that I don't know, like it's that girl is in this interesting position now because she saw that the rest were paid off, so she has that information. What is she going to do something with it? Is she not, and then it's also the context that was between Amanda and her before that karate tournament where Amanda was like, hey, don't cheat. And then the girl had saw that it was cheating, even though she wasn't cheating. And so that will be interesting to see how that sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it might be surprising at first, but it kind of makes sense. I feel like Amanda does not want Tori and Sam to be the same way as Johnny and Danny are, where they're at each other's throats for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and I think, again, that's what makes this show so interesting, is that there's a dichotomy constantly going on between almost every character has like the opposing character, and like the coming from different backgrounds and different situations, almost like complete polarity between, like Danny and Johnny, between, the Sam and
Tori,
and then the youngest son and the kid who got very aggressive with Cobra Kai. It's interesting.
Oh yeah, that was actually pretty scary when he was like putting him down, like saying like your high school life's gonna be horrible.
Yeah, but then but it's cool because now it's like, all right, now that opens up the door for this kid to get into karate and to develop and to follow in his father's footsteps. And
yeah, just hopefully doesn't try to pick a fight, just defend himself actually.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think for season 5, like, they should find a way to really resolve, because I don't see where else could they go with this after dealing with Silver, and who knows if anyone else is coming, because some friends told me that another character from, I think, the 3rd movie, Mike Barnes, might make a return to join Silver.
I don't recall that from the 3rd movie. What was his role?
I'm not sure exactly. I don't think I've seen the full 3rd movie, but I kind of got the gist of it from the show. I think he was like another student who was pretty capable but also violent, I think. Like maybe a little bit older than Danny. Hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're pulling out all the resources. And I would imagine if you were in that first movie and you see the popularity of Cobra Kai, you're talking to your agent and you're like, how can I get involved? What can we do? Because I don't know. It's interesting too. Like, I'm curious as to the process of how they go about writing it. Like how much they reference the initial scripts and initial movies, and what their overarching, where they're trying to end up. Kind of like what you were saying. Like, is this thing going to continue? They really could with the younger generations, but at a certain point, like, the story gets kind of redundant. But
yeah, because honestly, I thought for this season this could be it, because ending it after a tournament, like, that's pretty climactic. But I guess they're saving up for something else, I guess. I mean, who knows? They might try to end it when the kids graduate from high school, because I think they're like junior year or so. At least I think. I don't know if they ever said if they were high school juniors or seniors.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I hope, I like the shows that end where I want more. But like Sopranos, I would have loved another season, but I appreciate there wasn't another season, because there probably just wasn't enough good content to like really make it, end well. And sometimes shows go too far. I feel like a lot of times shows go too far. Like Game of Thrones, I thought was like, that last season was good. I thought it was really good. If they hit another season, like, what would be the storyline? I don't know. It might just be too much of the same.
Yeah, I think for some shows it should end like where they're done, but you can still imagine like that the adventure, so to speak, can still continue. So just in a way.
Yeah, I think focusing on it, like, it's hard to keep the same stories happening over and over. Like Cobra Kai's done a good job of like finding these subplots and subplot, but the overarching theme is pretty much the same generally, I think. But how far can they go with that? I don't know. If they did like a more of a spin-off after, that could be interesting, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But nonetheless, like it's a really well written show, and I hope they continue to keep it like, keep the focus on making it as good as possible versus as long as possible. And I don't like some of the things I just thought got too out of control at certain times, like the Carrie Underwood thing, the whole like, for me, the whole subplot with the commission for the the karate tournament, like that got weird. Like those basically the suits that were
Oh
talking
yeah,
about,
that.
like that was just a weird. The acting was horrible. They were all bad acting. It was just weird. It just didn't like it. Just to me, it didn't feel like it fit in. I feel like they were trying to like fill in.
I suppose though, the guy with that always talks about the color of the mats. I find that funny.
Yeah, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's just like if you're. I mean, I'm not in the karate world, so I can't speak to that. But if you're in any sport, and I did a lot of sports growing up, like they're making this tournament to be like it's the Olympics, but really I don't know, like they're big deals, but it's like this regional tournament. They're making it to be this international tournament, I guess, is kind of what there's kind of like I think what could be cool is if they started to like, and maybe they will, but look like nationally or internationally and kind of come together. And maybe that's the direction they're heading into. But I don't know. Like this Valley tournament is like, if you think about what the Valley tournament is, it's, it's like a county tournament. And it's California, so it's a big county. But it has this feel of this national tournament. And really, it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not familiar much with karate tournaments myself, but I'm guessing they're all kinds of other categories. So what they done was have everyone a chance to be involved, because especially for miyagi-do, not everyone is a skilled fighter as Sam, except for Hawk. Hawk definitely took me by surprise. As far as the final fight with the guys, I was not expecting Hawk and Robbie. I figured Miguel might have gotten close to being the champ, but I was fine with the results.
Yeah, I think that was cool. I think that was one of those things that like you didn't expect. You kind of thought it was me, Miguel, and Robbie, and it's kind of cool that it worked out that way. And honestly, it makes sense. Like, again, like to me, like everybody watches shows from their perspective, but for me, when I watch a show, like I want to believe that it could be real. And the idea that Miguel started to feel like he didn't even know what he was fighting for anymore. Like this is a real thing a lot of kids face, when their parents get involved, or in this case, his sensei / pseudo stepfather.
Yeah.
It became more about his issues versus why Miguel got started in the first place. And so I think it's kind of a cool twist for him to stand up against that, because I think a lot of kids can relate to that, and a lot of adults who are in the situation could relate to that.
Yeah, that's probably why they're adding the whole subplot with him finding his dad.
Yeah.
What do you think's gonna happen like towards the very end? Do you think there might be like a 3-person team up against Cobra Kai with Johnny, Danny, and Chosen?
I think what they're gonna probably, I get one direction they could take it is they sort of like pan out, like how movies or shows have a way of like fast forwarding 6 months in time, and all of a sudden Cobra Kai is a franchise, because Silver has talked about how he wants to expand it. So now there's all these different locations, I don't know how they would capture that in each episode, like, because they would have to like build in the different characters of each location for us to like to care about them. But that was a big theme of what they wanted to do. So it'll be interesting if they go in that direction. I think I can definitely see there being a lot of, I can see Kreese reaching out to Johnny, or reaching out to even Daniel's son, probably Daniel's son. And there being obviously like Daniel's son being like, no, man, screw you. And then there being some sort of like, I don't know, some give and pull there where there's a connection and somehow they work together against Silver.
Yeah, because that double cross, that took me a little bit by surprise. Because I was sensing there was going to be some tension between the two, but I didn't think he was going to have him arrested.
Again, like to me, that was like a really cool twist. And it's all like, so when Silver was beating the crap out of that. What's that guy's name? Sister or something.
Stingray, I think that was his code name.
Anyway, when he's beating the crap out of him, it's like you're kind of like, what is going on here? But then it's like, well, if you can kind of see like, well, if someone was sick in the head like Silver is, you can kind of see like, yeah, now you see the outcome of it. At first you're like, what the hell is this guy doing? But now you're like, oh, this is, and then you can look at, you know, Stingray's perspective of like being that kid who will do anything to fit in. And so it's like, to me, I found it believable, you know, unfortunately. I mean, I'm sure it will come a point where he'll have his conscience come in and, you know, he'll probably come forward, and how that involves Tori, you know, because what Tori saw, is she going to keep that to herself? Like, I don't know, maybe Tori quits karate altogether. I could see that happening as well, because, you know, again, it's got to be something other than what she thought it was going to be. So as far as how I think it's going to end, I don't know. They can go in a lot of different directions, and I think that's a good thing and a bad thing, you know. But I think ultimately it's going to be some sort of combination of, you know, I just don't know that they can, a combination of like the, you know, Robbie, Sam, maybe Miguel, but versus say Cobra Kai. But are they really going to be able to climax at the tournament again? Like, is that going to, you know, it's like the second or third time in a row they're doing that. And I guess all stops end there, but they got to make that more compelling, you know?
Yeah, if they're going to do a tournament, then there's definitely going to be a time skip if it's going to be this season. So, because I think they have it like at least once a year, so we'll have to wait and see. But still, yeah, you raise a good point, because I mean, Tori could quit karate and focus more on just trying to provide for her family and stuff. Same with Robbie, just not like to be, probably may quit altogether, so he doesn't have to be so angry at everything.
Well, another subplot that's interesting is Robbie's mom. You know, she all of a sudden she came back in the picture. She had, you know, the money that Silver gave her. You know, what happens there? Did they start dating? You know, does does Silver hold leverage on Robbie? Like, you know, how does that play out?
That would be very interesting if they did that.
Yeah, they just do a great job of like, it's to me, it must be impossible to write a show where you have so many different characters and so many different subplots going on, but keep them, you know, interesting and fascinating, and they have a lot of different directions they can go into.
Yeah, it's just crazy because it's funny that we have with Kreese, he was like chaotically evil, like where he would just like have his students, you know, do whatever you want, you know, you could fight outside tournament, you know, and the whole show no mercy. But with Silver, it's more lawfully evil, like where he picks and chooses when to strike.
Yeah. But I think that's important. You know, I think it's important. That's what defines a character, is having their own sort of uniqueness about them, like how they see the world, you know, and there's similarities between Kreese and Silver, but they're also different. Same with Johnny and Daniel. There are similarities, but they're also different. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's what makes them interesting, I think.
Yeah, I say for this season, never trust a businessman.
Well, it's a bold statement, but never trust a businessman who is psychotic. Because if you go back and you watch, I vaguely remember, I don't know if it must have been Karate Kid 3 when Silver was there. You know, he was crazy. He was a crazy character. Okay, oh, yeah. I do remember that. So, you know, he has that background.
Oh yeah, and I'm saying like for all businessmen, just definitely the ones who are psychotic or always do these like twisted little deals and stuff.
Yeah.
But from your opinion, like, what do you think of how they done the training regiments for Cobra Kai?
I think it's like some of it's like, I like the idea of where they're going with it. Like, I think the stuff that Daniel-san's doing, like, that's right aligned with what Miyagi, like that's been there since day one, and it's different, you know, and it's whatever. And I don't know that it's legitimacy in actual martial arts. I don't know that. I know there's a lot, like conceptually it makes sense to be softer and, you know, to be Like the style of defense is a style of karate, but all the wax, I don't know the relevance of any of that, but I like that it's there because that's where this show started. This was where the movie originated from. Some of the stuff Johnny was doing, like Sam jumping over a building, like
Yeah.
they could have done like a lot of other things that would be more believable. You know, she's not gonna jump over a building. And some of the stuff with, like, I like the idea he taught them that like cool kick, but it was like, you know, all of a sudden they're in this weird warehouse. It's like, well, how are you in this warehouse? Whose warehouse is it? And there's a thing of like, there's just some of that, like I thought the dumpster, like not the dumpster, but the concrete truck from a few seasons ago was maybe believable, like kind of out there, but maybe believable.
Oh yeah, that was nuts.
I just felt like they went a little too far with that. I would have liked to have seen more like actual, you know, actual fitness, actual training.
Yeah, because with Kreese's training, from what we see, nothing really extreme. Just at the dojo doing normal routines and even having a little gym in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they did I think like a montage of like Robbie training, you know, which whatever. But I think it would be cool if they made it add a little bit more of an element to that, because like if you're gonna buy in that somebody's badass, you want to see more of it. Like what makes them badass, you know, other than just the karate. If they're gonna have, especially at least for me, like I love in any movie a training montage, and I don't necessarily love their training montages because to me it's just like not believable, a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, to me nothing beats Ben Affleck's training montage in that Batman Superman movie.
Nothing beats that. Then you better watch Rocky, because every Rocky montage, like Ben Affleck, I could not buy into for Batman. To me, like I like Ben Affleck, but not as Batman. But yeah, Rocky montages, those are the best.
Oh yeah, that's true. Especially think the third one with Kree as they're trained together.
Yeah. I mean, the old school Chicago stuff, the beach. It was 100%. And then of course Cobra laying like his style stuff, like, you know. But it's the thing. That's the thing is like if you look at the Rocky montages, you could say that it's so it's an exaggeration, but it's a movie, right? So you're going to have that, and that's okay. But like those things that they did in Rocky, while most fighters don't do that, there's still there's still things that can be done. Like they're humanly possible to do, and you can understand that. You can kind of like, you know, like they made the sit-ups look cool by him like hanging off and come. Like, would anybody do that in real life? Probably not, but you could do that in real life. Whereas like you're not going to be jumping over a building to prove it. Like that's just not going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So and maybe again, some people might have liked that. It's just my perspective on it.
Yeah, that's a problem, because like I have to wonder, like, does Johnny actually do this crazy stuff on his own or what? Because mostly all we see him is just like teaching and drinking beer.
Yeah, which the drinking beer part is pretty funny sometimes, but yeah, it would be good to you know, to have him show more of like when they had him doing his training montage. I thought that was kind of cool. You know, the stuff that he was doing. It was funny. It was believable.
Oh yeah.
When he got drunk. Yeah, when he got drunk, I will say I think that was a good moment. Like that was a really cool, not cool, but when he was like, "Thank you, Robbie," to Miguel. You know, when they had that moment together.
Oh yeah, that's.
You can understand how that could happen. You know, like how the subconscious gets involved and him being drunk, and you know, how that could hurt Miguel. I think Miguel's a great actor. Well, Miguel is the character, but whoever plays Miguel is a good actor. Like that was you could feel for that moment, and moments like that are cool, I think, because it really draws you closer.
Agreed. But hopefully we get to see such a cool training montages now that we got another sensei to teach, so we'll see what happens there. But I think that's our time for now. Thank you again for being part of this podcast.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Also, for any of you interested, Joe has his own YouTube channel for fitness tips as well as workout routines. You can reach him out through Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, that's right. It's at Joe Carabase. So JoeCarabase on Instagram, Facebook, and then on YouTube as well.
Also, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. This is Be Entertainment, signing off.